Power on.
Real-time Sovryn is go.
Woo, the golden stallion, the man of tomorrow, Savzu, the rated R radio star, here for you with another real-time Sovryn, being joined by it's a real-time Sovryn. It's an RTS/TFR, which sounds like some kind of mashup game genre, but it is certainly a mashup of me and my brother, Robin Freebeard. Woo, Rob, welcome back, man.
What's up, Chooms?
Oh, boy. Let the good times roll. But, we don't exactly live in, the very, very famous world that Captain Picard described in the season 1 finale of The Next Generation. Not of Picard thing, Satan, called the Neutral Zone, where Picard rightfully tells off some Wall Street broker or whatever he was. We've gotten past our need to accumulate things. Well, we don't live in that world yet. And so Rob and I accumulate things here and there. Though, and we're going to talk about, I'll pay the tease. We're going to talk about the Switch 2. You'll probably have already seen that in the title of the episode anyway. But, real quick, I actually recently rewatched that episode, The Neutral Zone. Rob, I'm sure this is one you remember very well.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, the Romulans coming back for the first time.
All
that
was the first hint of the Borg.
Yes, exactly. There is a line in that I think was just so. It's certainly in 87. In 87, that would have been like reacted to and seen as so ludicrous, like just so. There's no way that prediction is ever going to happen. That now to me seems insanely prescient. I don't know how the hell they pulled this off, but there's a point where the country singer guy wants to watch some television and nobody knows what he's talking about, which, I've recently said that I think, the Star Trek future, there being no television, is actually a very prescient thing. Now, that's one thing to say, but in fact, Data, when he explains what it is, says that type of entertainment died around 2040. And I am stunned at actually how prescient I think that date is, because I think television, in many ways, I already think television is dead. Like, I know some people consider YouTube to be like TV, but like TikTok isn't TV, and that's far and away the most popular, like these 30-second to 3-minute clips, whatever, are far and away the most popular form of like video content. Nobody would call that television, but that's what's taking over,
Yeah.
And so,
the streaming services are dying.
Right. Even that, like that would have been or might have been the successor to television, but no, those are, oh man, the reports that have come out about like Disney Plus, they've, as I understand it, like Tony Gilroy has confirmed that they've said it outright. There's no money in streaming. Like, it's a losing proposition.
Yeah. And they keep rebranding, like,
right.
Is it HBO Max or is it just Max or is it, whatever?
Now they're back to HBO Max. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Paramount Plus just rebranded too.
Oh, and that network's gone through so many rebrands.
Yeah.
Like CBS All Access, then that's gone all over the place, that one. Yeah, the only one I think that's doing it, and you tell me what you think, Rob. I think the only one that's doing it halfway right is Apple, but that's because, they're making the best shit on the planet right now.
Yeah, they've got one stinker, but yeah,
right. Oh yeah. Not everything's gold, but boy, so much of it is.
Yeah, I'd say they probably have like half of the good content that's being put out.
Right. Yeah. And so, and obviously the reasons they can do that is that they're $1 trillion company without making movies. You know what I mean? Like they just don't need it, and it's just something that like helps them lock people in, or at least entice them, because really Apple TV is available on anything. It's not like it's an Apple only platform. So Yeah, weird thing. And actually, boy, you know, Apple's been doing so good. I'm still super jazzed for their you know, their adaptation of Neuromancer. I mean, because if they can do so many of these
right.
things so right, holy shit, is that going to be good?
Yep.
Is the one stinker, is that Foundation for you?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Yeah.
Read the books, folks. Read the books.
Oh, for sure. Oh, they're not even remotely the same. Like they're
No.
they're two totally different stories. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been too colored by, you know, modern society.
Right. Yeah. Well, I also think it's like commentary on modern society, which that's not what Asimov was going for. He was
exactly.
Asimov was literally. Go ahead.
He was trying to go way forward.
Yes.
Beyond all this shit.
Right. And the parallel wasn't today. The parallelism was Edward Gibbon's Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. You know, like that's literally what he did, is he turned that into a science fiction epic, you know, and then combined it with everything else that he had. But yeah, exactly. He was thinking way forward. Totally right. But otherwise, yeah, Apple's kicking ass. Now, the other company that's really kicking ass is really a company that I have called like the Apple of gaming, because Apple sure is fucking gaming, which is amazing that they still can't do that. Like, all the success in the world and you can't crack that nut. That's so weird to me. But the one who has cracked the nut in some ways actually made the nut. I'm not going to say they nutted. That'd be a little weird, but that would be Nintendo.
Yeah, for all their flaws.
Yeah.
And there are many.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to say nothing of their handling of IP against other people, which is just.
Yeah.
Yep. We're well aware of that, folks. So anyone that wants to like comment about that, feel free to comment, of course, on YouTube or Spotify, but we know, okay, that we're not going to, yeah, I was going to say whitewash, but that might not be the right word. Regardless, we're not going to whitewash anything here about Nintendo, because we're going to talk about, like I said earlier, the Switch 2. And I admit I have some critiques, but, you know, Rob has one. I've graciously been able to get my hands on one. Yep, he's just showed one on camera. I can as well. The proof of the goods. I mean, it's amazing this thing hasn't even been out a month. But, well, Rob, I mean, like open it up. So you got yours on launch day. Like,
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, June 5th, midnight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, what was that crowd like? Did you go to GameStop or was it what? Or
yeah, I went to game my local GameStop, which is still like half an hour away, but you know, it's the closest one I got.
Sure.
You know, there was an element of, you know, kind of like the old school midnight launches, but it did seem like a bit more subdued than in the past.
Were they serving food?
Yeah, they had free pizza.
Oh, they did have food. Okay. Well,
yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I feel so like these are just the things like science fiction or like Star Trek conventions when Star Trek was hot. You know, like there are just certain things that I feel bad that whole generations are never going to be able to experience.
Yeah.
And one of those things, because I mean, those conventions were chef's kiss. I mean, just c'est magnifique. But midnight launches for games were just some of the greatest moments of connectivity and excitement. Yeah, I don't imagine it can ever be back, you know, like it was. But people, if you only knew, like it was insane back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, even just, you know, even like more, you know, low key things, you know, like like they used to have video stores everywhere, like renting movies, you know, and like nerding out with you know, the staff that worked at Blockbuster and whatnot. And
yes. I mean, there's so many movies like, you know, like I think this is something, I don't think the movie industry understood what the hell they lost like when you lost the Blockbuster worker, the Blockbuster video like workers, because those are the people who could tell you, because they watched all the weird shit, like they had to make sure that what they were putting on the shelves was the right stuff. I mean, there's lots of reasons that they would watch a lot of like quote unquote terrible movies or something like that. But no, man, like these people could often promote a film so hard, and it was completely word of mouth, and it was somebody who lived near you. It was somebody who was relatively disarming often enough. And it's like, Hollywood's wondering, where did all the money go? We put all this, hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising. Why aren't we seeing that in the movie, or, in the profits for the movie? And it's like, well, you lost your best marketing, which was honestly the fucking rental store.
Right.
I never really thought about that.
Right. And now you're shuffling off movie reviews to AI.
Provably, we have the receipts on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is so bad. They fucked themselves. I mean, let's just call it like they did this to themselves. But
yeah, I mean, it's history repeats itself. It was the same thing with, the way they the recording industry reacted to Napster, and I mean,
totally. Yeah, no, really, they did. They do this to themselves.
I mean, was Metallica ever bigger than after Slapnuts' rant against pirating music?
Yeah, right. I mean, and actually, Lars Ulrich is he's like recanted on that. Like,
well, he had to eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
no, I know.
But still, like, they'll never be as big as they were back in the mid '90s.
Yeah. I mean, I think some people would push back at us and say, "Wait a minute, Metallica's the biggest band in the world right now." But folks, that's not saying much, because the competition's the real competition is largely dead. Okay.
I was gonna say, I mean, like, does being the biggest band in the world really have like any clout or meaning?
Right. It's like saying Taylor Swift is talented. Stop it.
I was just gonna fucking say Taylor fucking Swift.
Stop. Celine Dion has more talent in her fucking pinky finger than that gal. Please. Again, all these people are so fucking great. Oh, the fuck they are. They're not, it just speaks more to what we've been saying. You don't understand. You weren't there. You don't know how great these fucking things were and how great these people were. We lived in the most amazing time, Rob. I mean, that's just reality. But, and I know you and I have already talked about that many times, but
of course,
yeah. And we could side tangent. We could go on forever talking about that. We really could. But we have the Switch too. So, but actually this is good, because some of this, what we were just talking about, is actually preamble to perhaps some of my criticisms of the Switch 2. But all right. So you got yours on launch day. Did you feel like it was a buggy system at all? Like the first, 48 hours that you had it?
No, not at all. My only hindrance was that I didn't have a memory card for it, because those fucking micro SD express cards are so fucking hard to find right now.
Yeah. All right. So first thing, I want to talk about that. First thing, it's impressive to get anything on launch day and for it to not really be buggy. I haven't had mine since launch day, but I haven't encountered like anything breaking like at all. Now it's a very simple system, and that's probably why it can get away with that. But then that's also, let's praise a simple system, for just fucking working. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of that is due to the fact that, they had something that worked and they decided not to, break it by fixing it.
Yeah. Well, this is where we're going to approach a paradox, I think, in that comment. So we're going to touch on that again shortly, but let's talk about the micro SD express situation. Because how long did it take you to get your hands on one of those, Rob?
I just got my 1 terabyte card like a couple days ago, literally.
And I know
I had ordered it, months prior to launch.
Right.
I was supposed to get it on launch day from Amazon.
Yep.
And literally the morning of, they're like, oh, sorry, there was, like a problem with, logistics and manufacturing or whatever. And I'm like, there's no fucking way you didn't know about that weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, and I think this is an important subject to get into. Okay. First off, it's, in my opinion, like I look at, because I have one of them as well. I have an expansion card. And it's a new version called microSD Express, not Extreme. That already existed. This is microSD Express. There's really, like, looking at the reader and everything, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to use any card that you want. And you know what? Like, sure, if the speed's slower, okay, that's the price you paid, literally, for using a lower end, quote unquote, lower end card, which is also nonsense, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, this part feels a little nasty, to have this requirement. I mean, do you have comment on that, Rob?
Yeah, well, it's totally contrived, in my opinion.
Right.
And the fact that the Steam Deck, which I would say is, on par with or just slightly behind the Switch 2 in terms of power and performance, functions just fine with all the other micro SD cards that are out there on the market.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, this just feels like a kickback to, SanDisk, Lexar, and,
right,
whoever else, Samsung.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Quick comment on that, because there are, like, here's the funny thing. So there are, like, there's performance improvements for sure. Like the read write speeds are better, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Again, I don't know that those are necessary, especially when most
think that the improvements are that significant.
No, right. But this is basically, it's still a new process. I understand that. Okay. But here's the funny thing. Like you said, there's actually only 2-3 companies that are putting these out there. Now, the reason being is actually they're all pretty much getting manufactured by the same 2 or 3 plants.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was just going to say that, like, the off-brand ones you see are binned cards.
Yeah.
That, like, for whatever reason, like, didn't meet the very strict requirements for their brand. And so exactly. like Walmart has its own brand. I forget what the name is, but they're basically binned Lexar cards, because you can go into the hardware identification on those and see that it's a Lexar branded card.
Yep. Yeah. Their brand is ONN.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually what I ended up with. And because, like, that's the thing is, okay, yep, it's binned. So, like, if you get a 512 card, it's basically what they call a binned, as in, like, it doesn't have full memory capacity. So it's probably a 1 terabyte card that just, like, had an error somewhere in the manufacturing process, which is, what we call binning, right? It's like why there are processors that have 6 cores. It's like, wait, why bother making a 6-core processor when there's 8 cores or something like that? It's because they are 8-core processors. Just 2 of the cores failed. They're not bad. Like, they're still the same quality. It's just that they didn't.
It's the same exact silicon die size too.
Exactly.
They just disable those cores.
Exactly right. Yeah. So for those listening to this, if you're like, ooh, I don't want to get one of those off-brand ones, there's really no off-brand one. They're all made by the same damn, plants.
The YouTube channel Spawnwave, he did, like, a review comparing, like, the on-brand to the official Lexar one, and they're really, like, the load time, the difference in load times was negligible. It was like a fraction of a second.
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, like, so small side tangent, when people are looking for, like, cables or other kind of, like, little accessories, equipment, even like micro SD cards, whatever, all these kinds of things. The 2 brands I most often recommend are actually Amazon Basics and On. Now, fuck Amazon, fuck Walmart. Like, these are the people destroying the planet. Okay. But so is everybody else, regardless. Okay. Fuck these people. Let me make that clear. But their standards for what gets on the shelves are actually often higher than through a lot of digital or other digital stores, and often even the manufacturers themselves. So you're basically like, what, even if it's like a binned product, what you're getting on the shelf at Walmart or through the Amazon Basics brand, while it's like, oh wait, like this is cheaper, this is, whatever, it's standardized though. Like that's the part that I think a lot of people miss with those. And that's why I always recommend that, because what you're getting. When you're like buying from some weird Southeast Asian named brand, you have no idea what you're getting. Like you just don't know. They could be manufactured in completely different ways, as to where there is a manufacturing standard of what gets put on the shelves, especially in electronics, when it comes to Walmart or when it comes to Amazon Basics with their own brands. So anyway, that's just a total side tangent, and there you go.
Yeah, that's a strange market. I mean, there's companies out there selling SD cards that will report that they're one size, but in actuality, like the capacity is much smaller.
Yeah, they'll do funny formatting things, and actually, Steve Gibson has a tool for Windows that can detect when like the cards are lying to you about how much space they have and everything. Always a great thing to run. Anyway, so yeah, the micro SD thing is insane. I think when I finally got my Switch 2, boy, I installed maybe and every game's different, right? But like if we're talking like AAA games, I think I put maybe 10 on there, and I was filling that thing right up. And I was like, oh, no, this isn't going to work, because it only has 256 gig built in. I mean, 10 years ago, that would have seemed like a lot, but not now,
Yeah.
So,
well, like I said, I got the 1 terabyte card.
Yep.
And my entire library is still downloading at this very moment. And last I checked, I had like 300 gigabytes free space.
Right. Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I had in my Switch 1, I have a 1 terabyte, and that with room to spare did hold my entire library. So, but there wasn't a whole lot of room to spare. So like, I'm definitely excited. Right.
I think I can't remember how much I had. I think it was probably around 300 gigs that I had, but I bought some more games recently here. So, I'm imagining that the thing's going to be mostly full when I'm done here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one thing I do like, this is an improvement. Well, okay, this is a partial improvement. This is going to be a lot of the story with the Switch 2. Okay, I want to get this in, and then we can kind of say a broader thing and then get into more details. But I do like the way that the virtual game cards are displayed. I'm not saying I like the idea so much, and I'll explain why, but I do like the way that they're displayed, because previously on the Switch 1, unless you installed the game, it wouldn't show up in your like library view on the system. As to where now with the Switch 2, like it'll show you everything you've got, whether it's installed on the system or not.
Right.
And which, I like that. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Apparently I had a different idea about how these virtual game cards were going to work.
Yep.
I was under the impression that if I had a virtual game card for a physical game that I owned, that I wouldn't need the card anymore. That's not true.
Yeah.
Okay, I just checked, and my library has finished downloading, and I have 138 gigabytes left.
Holy shit. Yeah. So that sounds a bit, there we go. Go ahead and talk, Rob, while you're doing that.
I just showing you how many games I had on there. It's quite a bit.
Yeah. So that was quite a flip through. That was nice. So I like that, because, and this is a weird thing as well, like having to, when you first get the system, okay, this is bullshit. You can only have one other system linked to it. Like you can only have one other Switch 1 linked to it.
What?
Yeah. This.
Well, come on. That's a huge oversight. I mean, there are families out there that were like they've got like 3 kids and everybody's got like, like the mom and dad have like a normal Switch and the kids all have Switch lights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with the game, this is the dark side of the game cart thing, or the game cart thing, is like, I more or less like how they work, except for we got used to for years where if you're logged in with your Nintendo account on however many Switches you have, and like, I mean, I know individuals who have like 4, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could put whatever games you wanted onto it, and you just had to, like, unless it's your main Switch, you had to connect to the internet to verify that your account is the right one or whatever. The nice thing was
you couldn't play the same game on 2 systems at the same time.
Yes, I think that's accurate. Yes. So, but the nice thing about that was, like, like with Ellen, like we had 2 Switches, and I could, she could just use my library, even with her account, because I'm logged into that Switch. And right. I thought that was really nice, like a great way for families to be able to share shit and everything. That's really great. That's not how it works anymore, like at all. Now, yeah. So because now, like, it can only be loaded on one. Go ahead.
I imagine they'll be able to get away with that for a little while, given the price point of the Switch 2. But as soon as they come out with a Switch 2 Lite or whatever, they're going to have to change that policy.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is the thing. When I first booted up my Switch 2, it's like, okay, you can only have one other system linked. Right now you have 2. And I'm like, why? Like that just doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah.
And especially since now it just won't let you install the game on both systems, or, more than one system. Anyway, that was, huge oversight, big problem. Especially when you want like a system in everybody's hands, like that just, you can't keep going like this. But regardless, like, and this is another thing, like if anybody who is listening to this hasn't gotten one yet, when you get one, do not do the system transfer, because otherwise you're going to go through what Rob went through, where you're like, oh, I better have a 1 terabyte card, because it's going to try installing all of your games at once.
Yep.
And that's another like huge oversight, in my opinion, on Nintendo's part. They have, with the Switch, potentially just shy of being the best-selling video game system of all time. And you think that the game sales didn't match that hardware point? No, people have bought an ass ton of games. They have back catalogs that they wouldn't believe. And to require, or like to make it the default that all of your software automatically installs on it, and you're only giving people 256 gigabytes stock, that's insane. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? What do you got, Rob?
I mean, I think we talked about this before, honestly, and they said, like, even though they upgraded the memory on the system, it still wasn't enough.
Right. No, totally.
It should have been 512 minimum.
Yes. No, I completely agree. And I mean, look, also, again, we're dealing with a new micro SD card technology, and the shit ain't cheap. I mean, it's just not, as to where micro SD,
like from let alone not being cheap, just being, unavailable to buy in many cases.
Right.
Yeah,
no, to get the one that I got from Walmart, like I had to do it through the app. It had to get like there wasn't stock, like you were just waiting. And like, I was lucky enough to catch a story that said, oh, Walmart's got these back in stock. I'm like, oh shit. All right. And I could see, and I had to, do a little drive to be able to get to it and everything. Like it was insane what you'd have to do to get one of these cards, where again, micro SD cards are so fucking prevalent. Like, why did you make this false limitation? It just, crazy. Anyway.
And they say planned obsolescence isn't a thing.
Yeah. Well, I will say that for the Switch 2, I mean, this is a sleek, sexy beast. I mean, the quality of the construction of this thing is very nice.
Yeah.
And I do want to add in, like, I think it's amazing. So I used to, so they never released black Joy-Con for the Switch 1. They had dark gray, they had, some of that, but they never did the black. I actually years ago had ordered a custom pair of Joy-Con. They're official Joy-Con, not from Nintendo, but like, it's the official innards, all that, that were completely black, and they would actually light up and everything. They're very nice. I still have them. and I'd get a lot of comments. People would be like, whoa, where'd you get an all black Switch? Like that looks awesome. And I just feel so vindicated now because like, oh, Nintendo saw it my way. Yes, everything is better triple black. You're right. So minus the little coloring, the
I was going to say it's at least double black.
Yeah, it's at least double black.
You got some color too when you take the Joy-Con off.
Yeah, a little bit of subdued red and a blue hue here, and of course the big Switch 2 emblazoned on the back. But yeah, this is, it is fucking, it feels premium. It feels good, for the price. Rightfully so. People are complaining about the $450 or $500 price tag, depending upon what you bought. This feels it. It feels that price. What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
Yeah, like I said, to me, it is performance-wise on par with the Steam Deck and a better form factor too. It's slimmer.
Yeah,
it feels really good in the hands, whereas the Steam Deck feels like kind of bulky.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in fact, now you can tell me if you don't agree with this anymore, but you had told me, I had come over to the museum and you showed it to me, the Switch 2, and you said, you know what? It's like between you held up the Steam Deck and you held up the Switch 2, and you said, I think I like the Switch 2 better than the Steam Deck.
Yeah,
and
I do.
You still stand by that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I just think the form factor and the ease of use.
Mm-hmm.
Steam Deck requires a lot of fiddling. You kind of have to you have to be a PC user in order to use one of these things correctly.
Right.
And I'm kind of I'm getting of the age right now where I don't want to fiddle with my tech anymore.
Yeah. No, well, funny you say that, because I kind of feel the same way. Like, I don't have a Steam Deck, but I am just kind of amazed, and it's not just the Nintendo effect, but I'm just kind of amazed at how much I love gaming more on the Switch 2 particularly, than I do so much on my PC. And my laptop is no slouch whatsoever. Yeah, there's just something to that, like pick up and play. And I have to applaud Nintendo still for not baking in a bunch of social media nonsense into, and like an ass ton of notifications and whatever else, into the Switch, because that this ethos that they've had, really, that they held on to since the GameCube, when they didn't give the GameCube, unless you had the Panasonic Q, didn't give the GameCube DVD capabilities or anything like that, like the PlayStation 2 had or the Xbox had, where they're saying, no, we make video game machines. They're meant to play video games, like that attitude. They've really stuck to that. And I think it's a winner, more so today than it was even in 2002. What do you got?
Going back to what you were talking about with like the notifications, I actually appreciate that Nintendo isn't constantly nagging me about what's on sale.
Yeah.
Like I have to go to the store, or I have to go to the news page to actually like be sold something. Whereas even like my favorite PC gaming platform, GOG, is constantly notifications, what's on sale. Hey, this is on your wish list. It's on sale. Like, trust me, guys, I know when your stuff is on sale. I get the emails.
Yeah, it's so funny, so synchronous that you say that. I just unsubscribed from their emails this morning because I was just like, they're always sending these codes, and it's like, it's like, no, man, I know what I want as a gamer, and like, stop.
Right. Yeah. I can only think of a couple of times where I've used one of those codes to buy something. Right.
Yeah. And I just can't imagine it, because honestly, if it's something I wanted that bad, I would have already bought it,
Right.
Like it just would have happened.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something, prime example, something that just launched today, which is the 25th anniversary remaster of System Shock 2.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I'm buying this on multiple platforms.
Right.
I already bought it on GOG. It's going to be coming out next month on the Switch 2.
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, I'm probably going to be playing it on the Switch 2 more than on my PC.
Right. Right. And there's value, and real quick. Yeah. And exactly. And there's value in having it on both, because on the PC scene, you can mod, so
yeah, right.
That's why, some people say, oh, why the fuck do you have, why would you buy it for both platforms? That's why, and but again, it speaks to your point, just the lack of being bothered that you experience when you're on Nintendo's platform is so great. Yeah.
But not only that, like the game I put the most time into on the Switch 2 so far has been Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep.
I've put 50 hours in the last 3 weeks.
Fuck yeah.
And I've already had that game on my PC for years.
Right.
And I think I've only put in about, 10, 15 hours.
Right.
And the great thing is that even if I wanted to go back to my PC, they were nice enough to do cross-platform saves.
Oh, that's great.
So I can just pick up from my Switch 2 and go to the PC. So even if I wanted to finish the game on the Switch 2 and then start messing with mods, I can go my PC and pick up right where I left off.
Yeah, hell yeah. And this is something, I don't know. I mean, this isn't new. Other games and companies have done this before. Like Witcher 3 can do that between Switch and PC as well. But why more companies don't do this? You're literally incentivizing people to buy multiple copies of your game.
Yep.
Why would you not put that effort into that of just doing the cross-platform saves? Yeah, totally. So this is a small thing that I have to say, okay, it's part of a bigger thing, but a small thing that I really like that's relevant to what we're talking about is when you go to the Nintendo eShop, which, by the way, is very fast now.
Oh, God, it's so much better. Oh, my God, it's so much better.
Those that never owned a Switch have no idea what this pain is of going through the Switch One's eShop.
Yeah, that was like pulling teeth.
Oh, fuck, was it, man? It's so bad. And that's another area where, why would you design things that way? You're literally incentivizing people to not buy games at all because it's such a pain in the ass. Unless it was Nintendo's idea of we're the only ones that are going to be on the featured page, and that's the only thing you're ever going to get to if you don't have 2 days to go through the eShop.
That's not to say there isn't room for improvement, though.
Sure.
There's still no reviews.
Yep.
I think the way that they aggregate or curate games is still pretty shit.
Yep.
But yes, the overall experience, just in terms of performance and how the page in the games load, 100%, it's night and day. It is night and day.
Yeah. Yeah. And literally a dark theme. Yes. Yeah. I agree, because there's a lot of course, what we call e-slop on there.
Yes.
Games that should be just tossed, that are just taking, precious mental bandwidth as well as literal bandwidth.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as bad as Steam, but it's getting close.
No, right. Yeah. I get the sense. I mean, now Nintendo did have reviews before. They even had it on the 3DS where, you could put stars and, whatever else. I think they're just going to stay away from it because I think it's valuable. It's also a form of protest, often even political protest, among other things. Reviews are such a two-edged sword, especially in the gaming industry. I get the sense Nintendo just doesn't want to deal with it, but I agree with you. I'd rather have them than not.
I think it's more so even that the publishers probably just convinced them to keep reviews off the platform.
Yeah.
They don't want it. They don't want it.
Yeah. Yep. No, they don't. Yeah. Because they get hurt. Which again, it's powerful that it can do that. It's just, it can also be used in not helpful ways, but that's besides the point. What I do appreciate though, is when you go to your wish list, now you can hit a little checkbox at the top that says what's on sale. And in fact, tells you how many titles are on sale. Huge improvement, man.
Yes.
Because I am never looking at things that are full price.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
I do not have that kind of money. So,
No,
like that.
no. I mean, I kind of do have that kind of money, and even then, I'm still like, I just being a quote patient gamer is like so ingrained into me that I like no, I will never. I'll hardly ever pay full price for a game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, unless your game starts with like the four letters DOOM, you're not getting me on launch day. So
even that, I still don't own Dark Ages. That's just because I fucking hate the new lore.
Yeah, no, preach. Well, that's a separate subject, and hopefully one day to be on the Switch 2 as well. But so yeah, I do appreciate the wish list thing. Like that's such a simple little thing to do that just makes life so much easier. And also incentivizes sales, in my opinion. So, right on with that. So I guess let's get the really broad picture. Then we can talk about some more details, talk about some games, perhaps. Okay. Overall, I mean, you said you like this thing more than the Steam Deck. I mean, I think that's some of the highest praise that it could possibly get, I mean, do you love this thing? Like, give me like a 30-foot review of the Switch 2 for you.
I am ready to love this thing.
You're ready? Okay.
Not quite there yet. I do think I paid too much for it.
Yep.
I mean, I to a certain degree, I think it's worth its price point. Or it will be. I see the potential.
Sure.
That's what I'll say is I see the potential for this to be one of the greatest consoles ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that title's already held by the Switch 1.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and this very much is like this is the best example of from 1 to 2, like from Switch 1 to Switch 2. Like this is truly a sequel. Like and the PS. Go ahead.
I remember one of the things that we talked about when we were when before the Switch 2 was even announced was like the biggest thing for me, and I think for you too, was going to be backwards compatibility, and that might be the Switch 2's best feature.
Right.
Because it doesn't just provide backwards compatibility, but it provides, like in many cases, in the majority of cases, much improved performance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there have been some issues with like the emulation, and it is software emulation, correct? Like it's not hardware emulation that they're doing.
Yeah, no, they're not doing hardware, but there are some outliers, but like I said, I would say the vast majority of games have seen, an improvement in performance, at least in, things like load times and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So, and I mean, it's an interesting case of where, I mean, how many was it? 25 launch games, I want to say. And probably like half of those have already been available, perhaps for even some time.
Right.
And so, but like, what's the real like selling point to the system is that, there's still tons of great new Switch 1 games coming out, and there's still tons of great Switch 1 games that we've never played, but now they play better than ever,
Exactly.
And
like I said, that's probably its best feature.
Right. I mean, they really could have, and of course you and I have talked about this on previous episodes, but it still kind of feels like to me that this is just a Switch Pro, and they did plan on one of those, but worldwide pandemics happen. So with that in mind, see, this is tough because for me, my thought on, I mean, yeah, I like this thing a lot. Like it really, really does so much right. And it has so many nice little touches, little improvements over the Switch 1, and I could see some direction that they might go where this could, become a system that, like the Switch 1, that like, oh, I just love this thing. This is so cool. This is, like I'm going into battle with this thing, for fuck's sake, I just got to have it at my side, whatever. So it's tough because like I see it as, okay, this really is just a Switch Pro, like that we knew we were going to get before. In some ways, it really is just that. Because what's sad for me is, and this speaks to kind of some of the, shall we say, nostalgia that we were talking about earlier, like, and in fact, also the jumps between numbers. So like the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3, those are two incredibly different animals. Like, like they're not even fucking close to each other, like I mean, like the 3 is such an alien machine compared to the very simple PS2. And I would even argue the jump between the 3 and the 4 was huge. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't know about between the 3 and the 4, but I mean, like, wasn't the PlayStation 3 like the first game console that could be like technically classified as a supercomputer?
Yes. Yeah. Because of IBM cell processor. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. In fact, it is used as a supercomputer in some applications. So yeah, totally.
Well, I remember seeing like back in the day, people like, it almost looked like, Bitcoin mining rigs where people were daisy chaining PlayStation 3s into like a giant, like server.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, it's amazing that, that's the thing, like the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3, the difference between those systems, like you shouldn't have called that the PlayStation 3. That should be like the PlayStation 11 or something. Like it was just, it was such a dramatic leap, between those two as to where it was Switch 1 and Switch 2. Go ahead.
It's funny you say that because like one of my favorite PlayStation commercials of all time was the one where I think it was for the PlayStation 3, but basically like, they were showing like this futuristic advertisement for like PlayStation 26 or something. And it was like this whole like liquid VR interface and everything. And it was like, It was fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
Yeah. Right. And now Apple totally copied them with iOS 26. Anyway.
Right.
So yeah. But this is the thing. So like Switch 1, Switch 2, like that numbering makes sense because this feels like a true sequel. But that's also kind of the sad part is it's really just a sequel. Like, I think about the difference between like, all right. So the difference between the NES, the original Nintendo and the Super Nintendo was not that dramatic. Like no. The mechanisms are overall still the same. Yes, the graphics are a vast improvement, sure. And the sound is and all that, but like, it's still the kind of the same basic thing. The N64 felt like some kind of a revolution, like it really did. Not just because of the 3D graphics, but I mean, for a bunch of reasons. But, and this is really it. Like, I know I cannot expect Nintendo to innovate insanely every time they come out with a new game new game system of some kind, but it's just sort of sad when, I don't know, there's just not a new design language for this thing. Like, you know what, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look like different. It doesn't stand out. What do you got?
I think a lot of that is kind of market pressure, to be honest with you, because we know that basically, game publishers have been wanting, Nintendo to put out a system that was powerful enough to run their latest games.
Yeah, right.
And I think the demand really from the publishers is that, we want to use your platform. It's but just improve on it.
Right.
And I think Nintendo, to a certain degree, at times, the Wii U being a great example, is that, they kind of, sometimes their innovation, kind of a little bit sways towards being gimmicky.
Yes.
And I think they would have taken a huge risk if they had done that with, the new console.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. And from a business standpoint, like, you're totally on point, Rob. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I just like, I mean, even, like you look at the PS4 and the PS5, I mean, the PS5 looks like something fucking alien. Like, I don't know what ship that dropped out of. I mean, it looks like some kind of flower vase, honestly, but
Yeah.
but at least it looks like really weird and different, like it looks like this is the thing, is that game consoles, particularly more so than any other technology or really category, was about showing you something that appeared to be the future. When you first got the new console and you sat down and you fired up the first game, you were meant to feel like, I am a century from where I was yesterday. Like this is 100 years in the future. Look at these graphics. That was the feeling that we always got with each new system generation. And even if the system just fucking looked like it came from the year 2075 or something like that, would have been fine. But I think that's part of my problem, is that, look, I mean, this thing's great. The Switch 2 is great, but it really is, like, it's sexy also, in the sense of like it's sexier than the Switch 1, but at the same time, it's also incredibly boring, right? Like, I mean, compared to like the massive leaps in design language that we used to do from generation to generation. I don't know, maybe if the thing had some like neon lights around it or something, I would have been more impressed. I don't know. What do you say to that, Rob?
Well,
I mean, do you disagree with me?
I hear what you're saying, but I still just come back to the fact that like they clearly intend for this console to probably last another decade.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
One.
Yep.
So they're not building like, on the old 5 to 7 year console lifetime that it used to be.
Yeah, right.
So you have to make something that's going to, stand the test of time. It's my example, like the Wii did perfectly what you're talking about. But looking back, can you think of any Wii games that were like truly groundbreaking because of the motion controls?
Yeah, I mean, outside of sports, and there's only a couple of those. Yeah.
So I mean, in hindsight, like the Wii was super exciting, super innovative, like did everything that you're talking about in its initial launch, and it got all the hype that like it deserved. But in hindsight, it wasn't that great. Let's be honest.
Yeah, which is proven by like the most Wii ports actually going to like the Nintendo 3DS. Not even the Switch. It didn't even need that much horsepower, nor like wonkiness of controls for that matter.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
And then when they tried to bring the Nintendo DS to like their main console with the Wii U, it was a total flop.
Yep. You know what? God damn it. I think I mean, I don't know if you've heard this from others or not, but I mean, like, I think you just hit at it. Like, what was the idea behind putting that fucking screen on that controller? That was the idea. They just wanted to try, not that they're trying to bring the Wii, like, not that they're trying to do a sequel to the Wii. They're trying to bring the DS into the living room, like or onto the TV. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you hit it. Yeah. I mean, we've always talked about that, how the Switch 1 was really it's the Wii U in reverse.
I was just going to say that, they took the lesson from that and then just reversed the equation.
Right. And
brought, instead of bringing the DS to the living room, they brought the living room to the DS.
Right. Yeah. I know I keep saying this every time. I'm going to say it one more. Like, the idea of putting two Switches together via USB-C, on the Switch 2, if they just did that, A, that would have given them the DS that they wanted, but B, that would have felt like the future. Like, holy shit, I can take my Switch 1 and clamshell it with the Switch 2.
Yeah, I still think that would have been kind of like an awkward setup.
Sure. Yeah, it could have been weird.
Yeah, and here again, I think that kind of like edges a little too far into like the gimmicky category.
Yeah. I mean, the game set that you would use to play that would be on the limited side. I agree. But this brings up another point. I do like that they allow for even some Switch 2 games seemingly to get like streamed to a Switch 1 locally, so you can do local multiplayer even if the other person doesn't have the game, or even a Switch 2 for that matter. Maybe it's like games that are available on both, but regardless, that capability is pretty slick. So what do you got?
And they kind of do have, you know, the second screen functionality with the Zelda games that they, you know, upgraded or whatever. It's just on your phone instead of another, you know, Switch.
Yeah, this is controversial.
I'm not a huge fan of, but I guess I get that you know, that may scratch an itch for some people.
Yeah. I agree. It's something that'll scratch an itch for them. And I think it's something they're experimenting with. And it's not uninteresting that they basically put in this functionality with, you know, two games that are considered some of the greatest games ever made. That being, of course, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Safe. Yeah. And it's a function that it's not necessary to play the game. Right. You can play the game without using your phone at all. You don't have to. Yeah, which thanks Satan for that, because that's actually part of my problem with it. Is like the Zelda Notes feature is baked into the Nintendo Switch app. And like, yeah, it takes you away from it. Like it takes you out of the game to go and do that, you know? Like, to switch from one.
But I mean,
go ahead.
If you were going online to look up a guide to figure out, you know, where to go for like a quest, or where to find, you know, a certain piece of, you know, gear or whatever, you were doing that anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. You know what? That is a fair bat back on that, because yes, I think a lot of people for varying reasons would actually go to their smartphone, you know, to do whatever with a game. I mean, this is the same reason why like Microsoft basically baked in Microsoft Edge into the Xbox game bar now, to where you can even use Copilot to like help you find tips and tricks or whatever. So, you know, you're still sort of in game. I guess I wish maybe they had more of a game bar functionality, or like Zelda Notes was somehow put onto the console itself and not into a separate thing. But your point's fair. Like, people are going to look at their smartphones to look up shit anyway, to help them out with the game. So, okay, fair enough. Yeah. But boy, those games are beautiful. I did happen to boot both of them up, and they look amazing now. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like I was watching like, you know, like a well-produced like anime.
Yep.
Zelda.
Yeah. Same. Especially Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. Same. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. That really blew my mind.
I think the comment I made to you was just like, you know, like it was on par with like, you know, what we recently reviewed, the Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. Like, it looked that good.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So that's a plus. Okay. Yeah. So overall, I mean, I also really like this thing, and it's kind of the premier way. I mean, there's some games that now with the mouse functionality, which we'll talk about, there's no reason that like even some of my most beloved PC games couldn't be on the Switch too, you know? And I know I've said this to you before, like, you know, if Xbox would just put Age of Empires 2 on the Switch 2, like, I could throw away my gaming laptop if I wanted. You know, that's like, all right, whatever. You know,
I mean, I still haven't even used the mouse functionality.
Right on. Okay.
That may change, because like, unfortunately for me, like the shape of the Joy-Con just like, it's not right.
Yeah.
But I have seen that somebody has made like an attachment to slot the Joy-Con into that makes it feel like a normal mouse.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm all for.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that should have been like a day one thing, and that should have been something Nintendo was selling. Like, like that really should have been. Go ahead.
I will say this though, that the gyro is even better than on the Switch 1.
Yes. Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
Playing Cyberpunk with like, you know, the freed controllers, you know, and one in each hand.
Yeah.
It was on par with, say, like VR controls.
Yeah. No, even in like first person shooters, like I was playing Rise of the Triad, I noticed a significant improvement in the precision of the gyro.
Yes.
When aiming with that, which,
Yep.
I mean, it was very impressive how much better that was. Yeah. Now, I mean, to the mouse controls thing, like, I've messed with it and it's impressive. It's up to game developers to implement it, of course. I mean, already with the Switch 1, you could plug in like USB keyboards and mice into the dock.
Depending on the game.
Exactly. Depending, like Doom, you could do it. Quake, you could do it. There were some others where it could be done, and it worked very well. Right. Yes. Again, it's up to the developers to implement this stuff.
Right.
But like, everybody should be updating their games to allow this functionality, because it works pretty well. I agree with you. I want that grip, that makes it feel more like a mouse. Or, and this is the part that hasn't happened yet, and I don't know why. Let us fucking connect Bluetooth keyboards and mice. Like, I don't know why they're not allowing for that.
It's outside of their control.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it could be a secure. I mean, that's.
I think Nintendo wants to keep an iron grip on their hardware.
That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being frank. Like.
Yeah.
It's very much their MO, and they're fine with people doing any kind of wacky third-party attachment. To their hardware.
Yeah.
Even stuff that will literally kill your Switch. Kill Switch. But
jeez, brutal. We don't need to get into that story.
But yeah, in terms of like people actually selling, like the hardware, like there were never any third-party Joy-Cons, and I don't think there's ever going to be.
Yeah. I mean, outside of like those wacky, what was the company? Was it Hori that did that?
No, it's true. But I mean, like, those were very junky.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they didn't have batteries in them. Like, there was so much.
Right. They didn't have the full point. In fact, like the one with the Zelda one with the cross pad,
Yep.
It only worked when it was connected to the physical, Switch. It wasn't wireless.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, so your statement's still true. Like, you never got like real, full fat Joy-Cons.
Exactly.
From any other company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, these Joy-Con do feel great. Like, I mean, they feel really, really good. In fact, they feel so good, I don't really see the need for a Pro controller. I know they still have one. I have not gotten the Pro 2. But I mean, they
I got the charging, dog bone.
Yep.
Which to me is perfect. Like, you got one of those, you don't need a Pro controller, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, because it's one of the things I like about the Switch 2 overall is it's bigger. Like, and it just, like, I don't feel, I have kind of stupidly large hands, but like, I don't feel cramped, when I'm holding it, which is really, really nice.
The new dog bone feels just fine.
Yep. Now, another thing that, and I just want to get in a very quick review of this thing. Speaking of controls, like the GameCube controller, the official one for Nintendo Switch Online, this thing's amazing. Like, it's insane how I mean, there was a point I might have actually been crying, and I just thought that it was like somebody threw a turtle shell at me or something, but like, but it felt so. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the GameCube controller is one of, if not the greatest game controllers ever made. I mean, like, it just feels, your hands just wrap around it so nicely. And to have that in high quality again, and I mean, I know they sold wired versions and everything else for Smash Brothers, for the Switch 1. But this is really something very special. It's amazing how tight they are being on the stock of these, in that, like, you really can only get one per Nintendo Switch Online account. And that's the only way you can buy them is through, My Nintendo. I mean, they are being staunch as fuck. Granted, they don't want to have a recurrence of what happened with the N64 controller, which they could almost never keep in stock for the first year or two of its life. But boy, they're being super strict on this thing. But I have to admit, it's completely worth it for what it is. It's so nice, and works very well outside of just the GameCube games. It works great on Mario Kart World. It works great on Super Mario Sunshine if you happen to have the limited version of that. It's slick. I love it. Did you get any other weird controllers, Rob, or was that the list?
No, I just got I got the Switch 2, obviously, with the Mario Kart bundle.
Yep.
The charging dog bone and another pair of Joy-Cons.
Nice.
And that was all I got.
Nice. Cool. I did get the little wheels
and Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, I did get the little like wheels, but they're very little. It's not like I thought it was going to be more like the Wii ones, where it's almost a full size wheel that you put the Wiimote into and whatever.
Yeah.
But these you put the Joy-Con in. They're kind of useless. I mean, they make the buttons bigger if you only have one Joy-Con, but that's
I'll be honest with you. The Wii ones felt kind of dumb to me, so that's something I would never buy.
Yeah, it's funny. Ellen said the same thing. So you're in good company. Don't worry. Anyway, I mean, this is another really big part of it. Mario Kart World. If I can paraphrase you, Rob, and you can correct me, that basically if in the free roaming mode of Mario Kart World, if it had a story, this would be the perfect game. Do you stand by that?
Absolutely. I mean, I just give me Mario GTA.
I want Bowser bending Pauline over his knee. Excuse me, that was a bad one. Yeah. But Pauline is in the game. Good for her. Yeah, no, I'm with you. This is definitely a game they're going to add to for years to come.
That's the thing. It's like I can see the potential for that. Right. I mean, I think like eventually they'll probably add on to the map, but I think that's only going to go so far.
Yeah.
I think they have to add some kind of new gameplay sort of element to the game in order to improve upon it.
Yeah, I feel like the world is so, I know when you're in free roaming, some of it can feel kind of empty space, but when you're racing overall, it feels like there's a lot of world there and it's very detailed. And I think in some ways they're prepping for that, like for the day when, you're going to go full GTA and you're just going to be out there.
Right.
In fact, honestly, it'd be amazing if, since nobody knows when GTA 6 is going to come out, if like Nintendo had the functionality and they were just holding it. And when they get the release date for GTA 6, they just shadow drop it and just fuck with those sales.
That would be good. Yeah.
Oh, it'd be amazing if they did that.
Yeah, it would. That would be a masterclass move too. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you think you're going to have a great launch day here? Oh man. Well, we'll see. But anyway, Mario Kart World, definitely the system selling game. I've heard some people feel it's not original enough. And that really Mario Kart 8 is still like the game to play. I mean, do you have a comment to that, Rob?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not the biggest Mario Kart fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't dislike Mario Kart. It's just like, it doesn't hold my interest for very long.
Mm-hmm. Which speaks to you wanting that story mode, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, I'm fine with, playing, a couple of Mario Kart circuits every now and then, but like after 2 or 3 races, like I'm pretty much done for the day. Yeah.
I mean, fortunately they give us a ton to unlock. I mean, a ton of like characters and different outfits and everything, carts, it really,
and that's one of the things that I do like about the free roam mode is you can unlock stuff in that mode. You don't just have to win races.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think the game's amazing. I agree with you. I want a story mode as well in free roam. In fact, I haven't really spent much time at all in free roam mode. And part of that is, you like when I was over at the museum at your place, I was playing it for a bit and like, I got the taste of free roam and I'm like, yeah, but I want this to be more like you're just so right about that, and it doesn't even have to be a lot more. Go ahead.
That's kind of like the way I feel about the Switch 2 in general. Like I see a ton of potential. It's just not quite there yet. And I think they will get there. Yeah. Like I look at the Switch 2, I look at being an early adopter of the Switch 2 as being like an investment.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, the new Donkey Kong game coming out.
Oh my gosh. August. I never thought I'd be hyped about a Donkey Kong game. Like, really? Like, I mean, just like, to be honest with you, Donkey Kong's been boring for a long time.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we have to see just how open world this really is, but I mean, it really feels like Donkey Kong's Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
And, and I want to be cautious in that because like Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, we all thought that, that was going to be like Kirby and Breath of the Wild, but it wasn't. It was actually a very tight game, which was, somewhat limiting in what you could do. But this one looks like, no, this really could be Donkey Kong's Breath of the Wild. And, I mean, it looks incredible. Like this could be the game. And oddly enough, because it's fucking Donkey Kong, but like this could be the game that pushes it like Breath of the Wild, say, did for the Switch 1. I mean, do you see that?
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. Like I said, I never thought I would feel that way about a Donkey Kong game.
Yeah.
I mean, like the formula has been set in stone for so long.
Yeah.
That for it to change this drastically and it's I'm super hyped.
Yeah. I mean, it's super is the word. I'm glad you said that because it's like you read my mind. This is like the one case where I'm like, no, you really should have. I would have loved it if you called it the Super Nintendo Switch and not just Switch 2, because for me, like when I think Super Nintendo, admittedly, the first game that comes to mind is Donkey Kong Country. Like the music, everything about it. Because that game, and that game, that wasn't like a launch title whatsoever, but that game seemed so impossible to exist on that system. And I'm getting, I hate to use the word vibes, but I'm going to use it. I'm getting those same vibes, but it's like practically a launch title. And I feel like Nintendo might have known what they were doing.
Been. I really, I think, I think they didn't feel safe not having a Mario game as a launch title, as being the main launch title.
Right.
I think if they put Donkey Kong Bonanza out along next to, Mario Kart World, like the word of mouth would have gotten out, and I think it would have probably eclipsed Mario Kart.
Yeah. I think you raise a good point because that also makes me think they might not have done it just to like appease third party. My understanding is third party developer sales on the Switch 2 are not that great so far.
Especially with the game card games.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And because like really, if you had another, and I don't think, do we know the price tag for Bonanza for Donkey Kong Bonanza?
I have to imagine it's probably going to be 80.
Yeah, but it looks worth that. Yeah, I mean, like, under conventional auspices,
right?
So, I think that would have cut into like Street Fighter 6 sales, even Cyberpunk sales. Like I think there's a lot of things that would have cut into.
Actually, I've heard Cyberpunk is doing really well, and rightly so.
Good.
It's probably one of the best ports I've ever played of a PC game.
Yeah, well, they put together a complete package. I mean,
they did. They really did.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact that you basically get the expansion Phantom Liberty like built into it for like the normal cost of the game is like preem.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I mean, so that speaks to it. I mean, because I'll admit, I would have done what I had to do, to, like if I had to go get on my knees, like at a truck stop or something to get Bonanza, to be able to get Donkey Kong Bonanza on launch day, I probably would have, that game just looks that insane. They held an entire direct around this game, folks, to understand, all right, just how big of a deal Nintendo even realizes, I think, that it is. So it's weird that it wasn't a launch title, but at the same time, I kind of understand why. Also, at the same time, to me, I think, like, if you already own, say, for Switch 1, if you already own No Man's Sky, you already own, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, there's not, in my mind, minus Cyberpunk, there's not a lot to really buy here at first. Like Mario Kart World is sort of the only game. I would recommend Fast Fusion, but that's only $15. That's practically paying for a pack-in. Like, and that game's insane.
I wanted your review on that because MVP basically said it was like a glorified tech demo.
Well, it did just have an update come out today that added more tracks.
I heard that.
Yeah. So I'd give it a little bit more than just being a glorified tech demo. But also for $15, I can be pretty forgiving. But what you do play is fucking insane. It's definitely worth more, in my opinion, than the Welcome Tour game, quote unquote game, which is $10. If I had to choose which one I'd buy, I would be buying Fast Fusion. I bought both, but but that's the thing, is like, there's really, as far as Switch 2 only games, I really feel like there's only 3 or 4 games out of everything. If you already own so many of these other ones that are worthwhile. Go ahead.
The third party support kind of surprised me a bit, just because, like I mentioned earlier, so many publishers were begging Nintendo to improve their hardware. If that was the attitude, then where are all these games that you wanted to sell us on the platform?
Right. Some of them are coming later this year for sure. And we can remember them,
not
from
as
the
many
direct.
as I would have expected.
Yeah, no, you'd want to be there for that launch day money, in my opinion. I think I agree with you. I think it's kind of weird. So another honorable mention would be Sonic Generations X Shadow. Like, the Switch 2 version of that apparently is amazing, but the Switch 1 version was already great. So I don't know. Anyway, again, there's just the main selling point to this isn't even a lot of the launch titles, which is disappointing that there wasn't more of that, because the main selling point is, well, your Switch 1 games play amazing, and I can confirm they do. Like, by and large, they play way better than they did on the Switch 1. Your experience is similar, Rob?
Oh, absolutely. Silly. I actually, like, before the Switch 2 came out, I had been replaying Skyrim on my Switch 1.
Yeah.
And transitioning that game from, the Switch 1 to the Switch 2 was such a much improved experience.
I bet. I bet.
Less time on loading screens, less crashing, less glitches, just overall much better in performance.
And that was a glitch-prone game for the Switch 1. Like, it really, really was.
It still has some issues, but like it's much better on the Switch 2.
Yeah, I've been in this house when Ellen, which you talk Skyrim, you're talking her love language. You understand? And
oddly enough, she was the inspiration behind me replaying Skyrim.
Oh, I think she's what I've done for Babylon 5. She's done for Skyrim. For so many people. Like, there's so many weird people that are just like, oh yeah, plays. I'm like, wait, why are all these people suddenly playing Skyrim? And I find out that Ellen was talking to them about it. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah. But I've been in the house where she would, like, just shy of toss the Switch 1 across the room, because of some game breaking bug in the in Skyrim. It's so bad on the Switch 1. So it's good to hear that it's gotten better. Yeah. So go ahead.
I did want to circle back to Donkey Kong Bonanza just for a second.
Yeah.
I want to get your take on something. Are you aware of what is, in my opinion, a minor controversy, but the one controversy that has been with that game? The inclusion of Pauline as like a younger character kind of confuses the quote chronology of Donkey Kong.
Oh, that. Okay. Yeah. So very quickly, a lot of people don't know this. Who the hell is Pauline? Okay. Pauline. And we have to go all the way back to just a little bit after I was born. We have to go all the way back to 1981. And the first Donkey Kong game has Mario or Jumpman actually in it.
Yep.
And some people would say that it was Mario, whatever. Okay. Paul, it looks like Mario. So, and it's like, oh, is that Princess Peach that you're saving by going up the ladders and up everything? No, that's Pauline. And, this doesn't help. Like Jumpman is Mario. Yes. Why? Because when they re-released Donkey Kong 94 for the Game Boy, which was that game with an ass ton of other levels at the end, and it's one of the greatest games ever made. No exaggeration. It's Mario. Like it tells you. It's not Jumpman.
Well, I think Miyamoto has even said that Jumpman is Mario, and he's the creator of both.
Exactly. Right. So this is technically the first Mario game. Okay.
Right.
And his first love interest was Pauline, not Princess Peach. So that's Pauline. And she is, of course, kidnapped, as Mario's girlfriend seemed to be, which it does raise questions about what kind of a lover Mario is, if he's a good one at all or not. Because, I mean, you can say that Princess Peach was kidnapped, but I don't know. Maybe Bowser, who knows? Okay. We'll save that for future movies. Anyway, so yeah, it becomes an issue like, wait, when Donkey Kong kidnaps Pauline, how old is she? And also he is kidnapping someone that he seems to see as a friend and has sort of maybe a mentor protector role. It gets weird. I agree with you. Again, I don't think most people even know that history, but go ahead.
I probably have a very different take.
Okay.
So I have two main points. One, I actually kind of like how what you just talked about might actually recontextualize the relationship between these characters. Okay. And that maybe in the original Donkey Kong is protecting Pauline from this cringe, horny Italian plumber.
I mean, let's just be honest. They all are. Yeah.
Two, there are certain franchises that I don't want to have a canon or anything like that. Yeah. Like if you like, just take Mario Brothers, for example. Like you had no context for any of those games, and somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, do you want to come with me and my brother to the Mushroom King to save the princess?" You would react with, "Okay, what drugs are you on and where can I get some?" Like we're stomping on turtles. Like what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
That doesn't need a canon. I don't want that to have a canon. I want that to be like, that's why I love Mario Wonders so much, is because it is basically a Mario acid trip.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right. And Nintendo's kind of resolved this with like Zelda, where there's different timelines. And some games are canon with others, but they're not like canon in the whole.
I'm okay with Zelda being that way because it's like more like traditional fantasy, Tolkien-ish fantasy.
Yep.
So it's kind of like rooted in that idea of having a canon. Like, I mean, you can kind of argue that Tolkien invented that in a way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, and this is the thing, unless, well, yeah, I'm with you on that. Like Mario. I mean, the thing is, nobody goes to a Mario game for the story anyway. Like they really don't.
Right.
Unless it's
right.
like,
I mean,
go ahead.
John Carmack was right in terms of some video games. Having a story in a video game is like, having a plot in porno.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't want to
make
one
of the reasons
movie.
why. This is one of the reasons why I fucking hate the new Doom. Lore or chronology or whatever you want to call it. It's too convoluted, and I just want to tear the faces off demons and rip and tear. That's all I want.
Yeah,
I don't want all this shit about techno angels and God being the devil and all this other bullshit. I don't want any of that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, I think I go into most Mario games in the sense of it's a Marvel's what if, like it's an else world, like everything's an else worlds,
Yes.
If we were to say it in DC language. So yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like I honestly, when you brought it up and I saw some conversation about it online, I'm like, I didn't even think about that because like, it's not like, look, folks, obviously I just gave you a very brief history, but I could give you so much more. I'm very well aware of where Donkey Kong sits in the, in the pantheon, of video game existence. Like I'm very well aware of the game, and the entire history of Mario, and Donkey Kong. And it just didn't click for me. Like, no, like those games aren't even remotely related. I mean, yes, they're Donkey Kong, but that's it, So, yeah.
I mean, it's like Final Fantasy.
Right.
Every game is a new world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless they tell you so, like with certain nomenclature, exactly. Every major X2, number entry
and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're totally right. Yeah. So these are people who have too much time on their hands.
You might have just described the whole of the internet.
Yeah. Why did you go on the internet? I had too much time on my hands. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. Like, it just doesn't, like, it's not something that would have even like clicked or registered for me. And it's not because like power dynamics or shit like that is somehow like I'm not like conscious of it or aware of it, or it's so prevalent that I don't see it. It's like, no. I'm well aware when these kind of problems occur. Like, yes, it's fucking weird what happens with Connor McLeod and his story arc with his secretary, like I'm very well aware of how problematic that is. Because he saves her as a little girl from the Nazis, and whatever you say, Jack, you're the master race, and I got it. Okay, so it's not that I'm not aware. It's just not something I would have equated in these video games. I mean, also this speaks to a thing like Nintendo in general they're just so fucking clean, in what they do. Like, you just go into their games most of the time, minus Eternal Darkness or something like that, with just a general sense of joy, and you don't give a shit, know?
I mean, with Donkey Kong, they're just riffing on a pre-existing trope of King Kong anyway. It's not that complicated.
Right. And, also, if they want to rewrite the history of Donkey Kong, that he wasn't actually the villain at some point, great. Like, really, if they did want to do that, okay. I mean, they've already kind of done that, where like Cranky Kong, or the old man in Donkey Kong Country, like the claim is because this is a whole other thing, like which Kong is the one that kidnapped Pauline,
right,
because there's multiple generations of Kongs, and we know that. So
that's what I'm saying, is like that I don't care.
Right.
It's just it's a new character.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
yes.
This is one of the things that actually fucking annoys me to death about Star Wars, is that everybody in the background has got to be somebody with a backstory. No, they don't.
Yeah. The only reason that happened in Star Wars in the 90s, folks, as much as I enjoyed it, well, it's to sell toys, and also because it was the only thing that these writers felt safe that they could tell a story that George Lucas wouldn't shoot them down about, like that's it, folks. It's not that they gave a shit about the Hammer Tong sisters. Nobody cares. Okay. It was just the safe thing that the writer could put into Tales from Mos Eisley, and we digress. So, yeah. All right. So you're right, Rob, as usual.
You don't have to tell me that. We'll just assume that.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so all of that said, the Switch 2 is awesome. Like, I mean, it really is like such a kick-ass system. And like some of the games that we know are coming even just over the next couple months, like Donkey Kong, or even like Gradius Origins, and like there's really, really great stuff coming down the pike. And it is, this is what's that? Oh yeah, right. And of course the I was going to say the ape in the room being Metroid Prime 4. Yeah, like this is one of the most anticipated games in history. And boy, like I know they're delaying it because you have to get this right. Like if you don't, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I had a weird experience at the midnight launch of the Switch 2. Like I was with these guys in line that like they were aware of Metroid, but they just didn't care at all. They were more excited about the new Pokemon game. And I'm like, I've never felt the divide in generations more than I did in that moment of my life.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of amazing how like instantly Pokemon became like a major console like thing. And what I mean by that is, we barely had Pokemon games that got released for consoles, for like consoles that connected to your television. You have Pokemon Coliseum, Dungeon XD or whatever for GameCube. I mean, like they were so rare, but now, nope, that's just where they are. That's just where they show up. And that's admittedly kind of a weird world that we're in. But yeah, that like a Pokemon game would never top, like that'd never be top of mind for any console ever for me. Like it's always like background radiation of like, yes, it's a Nintendo system. It better have one. Otherwise, like, what the fuck? But yeah, it would never be the big one. But yeah, that's a bit of a divide. And I don't know. It's going to be amazing to see the reviews for Metroid Prime 4, because this is something that this is like, ether. Like, is it real? Is it actually here? There's, I don't know. I think they've got a long way to go. But again, we're in this very weird state where all of the Switch 1 games and new Switch 1 releases are like as important, as major as any Switch 2 native game. And I don't know that I've ever really experienced that before. I mean, sure, I used to play PlayStation 1 games on my PS2 and PS2 to PS3 and whatever, but like this is where, no, these are still like major selling points for your brand spanking shiny new system. And in fact, there's more of those games that are worth buying, in fact, than there are Switch 2 exclusives. Very strange time to be in with that. And I don't even know what to make of that. Go ahead.
That's still my biggest takeaway is that, the console as it exists right now is more just raw potential than anything else. Like Nintendo just has, like, this is Nintendo's game to lose.
Yes.
They just have to stay the course and keep doing what they've been doing. And they've got another hit on their hands.
Yeah.
Now they're already flirting with disaster with their, their fucking $80 price points on the games and shit like that, and the game cards. But I think they're figuring out really quick that people aren't buying this shit.
Yeah.
So, the market signal's being sent. Like I said, this is Nintendo's game to lose. The ball is in their court.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And the thing is, like, I don't know how many mistakes they can get away with right now. I love that you made this comment, because like right now, as best we can tell, or as best as I can tell anyway, like Microsoft, they're not even, I don't even think they're really thinking about future hardware. I know they made a big deal with AMD. They made a big, kind of exclusive with that, where AMD is going to work on their hardware and everything. Which great.
And they got the new MetaQuest S3.
Oh yeah. The 3S. Yeah. That's
whatever.
Yeah, right. So, well, that's a whole other thing too. Like, man, like I can't believe, like basically by reports, the MetaQuest 4, Meta just canceled it. They're just like, no, this isn't where the industry's going. Fuck it. It's like, holy shit.
It kind of feels like they just sold it to Microsoft.
Yeah. I mean, this is apparently a very limited run that they're doing, but still, like, this could be like the last major release of a VR headset, of that class. That's a weird thing. So
there's still the Deckard.
Oh yeah. No, sure. There's still going to be ones for, for straight PC gaming and all that. And I mean,
that's
Apple,
supposed to be a standalone unit too. From what the
Deckard is?
Yeah.
No shit. Okay. All right. Well, that gets interesting if they're basically like positing it as a VR Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay. Well, that gets very interesting. And I wonder if that would actually change Meta's tune a little bit. If that actually did money, that's definitely something I need to keep a closer eye on, going forward. But this is my point, is like Microsoft, when you listen to a lot of the language that they're putting out there right now, as far as the future of Xbox, they're talking about how do we get gamers on Windows? Like, that's what it very much sounds like.
So fucking weird.
I know. Cause they didn't pay attention to Windows for a goddamn decade. Like, like Windows 10 was like the deathbed release. It really felt that way. Because they just stopped caring, or about the consumer anyway. Like enterprise, sure, that's where their bread and butter is. I mean, even there was recent. Go ahead.
They just pushed back the death date on Windows 10.
Yeah, well, and they're doing some weird thing where you can actually like buy security updates for a year by using Bing points. What the fuck are you doing? It's like, not really. You can get it for free, but you got to use Bing, and it's like, well, is that really free? Because if I have to use Bing, that feels like torture. All right, but regardless, but this is the thing: is that like, Xbox, or should I say Microsoft, actually, I think has a winner on their hands by pushing gamers more and more into, shall we say, the Windows ecosystem, because so many people use Windows. Yeah, I mean, just so many fucking people. And to be able to take advantage of, and we know they're doing this, being able to take advantage of other game stores like GOG, Epic, Steam, whatever, and make that part of the quote unquote Xbox, kind of experience. I mean, it's kind of a winning formula, even though at the same time, it's them basically saying, Xbox hardware just isn't doing it. Like
I was just going to say, it almost feels like they're trying to get out of the hardware game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and they're already, working with like ASUS for, their Xbox version of the ROG Ally, all that jazz. So,
yeah, well, I mean, this kind of plays into what I was saying earlier about, third-party support for the Switch 2. Like, supposedly there's this big deal between Microsoft and Nintendo in terms of publishing games.
Right.
Where the fuck are they?
Yeah. And I mean, and I agree. It's weird that they're not there. Like, it's mind blowing to me, and I don't care because I don't want one, but it's mind blowing to me. There was no Call of Duty announcement during that direct. How did you not take that opportunity? Like, it would have been a 5 million seller day one. Yeah. And I hate that. I hate that it would have been, but I know that it would have been. That's a weird thing.
Where are the Bethesda games? Like, where's Fallout 4 or Oblivion Remastered, or
right? Yeah, they would have all been easy announcements to do after the fact.
Yeah,
they could have done it during the Oblivion fucking event, you know, that happened in April.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. Something's going on there. I just don't know I don't know what it is. But my point being is, like, companies are really changing their tack. Even Sony is looking more at PC, perhaps, than PlayStation sales, which I think is a very smart thing to do, because they're porting all of their big major games to PC with varying degrees of efficacy, for sure. But I mean, like,
they
when
need to shorten that window of, you know, time of release on PS3 to PC.
Right.
Because I'm like, you know, the whole like 3-year timeline is like, I'm sorry, but I've stopped caring. You expect me to pay full price for a game on PC that's already 3 years old? No.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Well, and that's another one. Like, wasn't Seven Rebirth, wasn't that announced for Switch too?
Yeah.
So, like, which that's amazing to me, because, like, that was in many ways the singular exclusive, and I know it's on PC now, but it was the singular exclusive reason to get like a PS5, right? like that was the one, you know. And I guess maybe it just didn't do what they expected, and so they don't mind, you know, schlepping it out to every other system. But my point is that I think even PlayStation, you know, when you're charging whatever $700-800 or $600, whatever it is for the PS5 Pro, like, you're running into trouble, because at that point it does become the question of, wait, do I buy a PS5 Pro, or do I just buy a PC? You know, because I'm going to be able to do a hell of a lot more with a PC.
The only reason I'm going to push back on that is because GPUs have gotten progressively more expensive.
Sure.
You know, in pace with the price of Sony's consoles.
Right.
Paying $600 for a full console does kind of seem like a deal compared to getting a low-end graphics card, just the graphics card, not the whole PC, just the graphics card, for that same amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, if you want the thing that's going to, like, you know, fucking bleed pixels, you got to pay twice that much.
Yeah.
For GPU.
Right. Well, you're right. And I think you're still shooting in that range, though, of like where it becomes a question. Might be a brief question, but it's still a question of, like, wait, am I really going to put that much down on a console? Go ahead.
I mean, for me, it's not even a question. I'm not buying either one.
Oh, yeah. No, right.
Because as proved by Cyberpunk on the Switch 2, I just have to wait a few years, and I get a game on, you know, a far less expensive console that performs great. You know, a game that was literally, you know, burning up your graphics card just a few years ago.
Yep. Yeah, and you're getting a complete and far less bug-ridden version of that game as well, you know?
Yeah. Not to say that there are any bugs, because I have encountered some.
Oh, sure. But far less bug-ridden, you know? No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Because
I haven't gotten any characters T-posing yet.
Yeah, right. Because Cyberpunk did have them. Like, launch Cyberpunk was a mess. You know, but I mean, games improve, just like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was an atrocity when it launched. Now it's you know, top marks. This is one of the best games.
I do want to mention that, because when you came over, I did show that game to the Switch 2 version.
Yeah.
And it was performing really poorly.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, I went to go check on it again just a couple of days ago, and it's working just fine.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I did power it up as well, because I had it for Switch 1, and so you get the free upgrade to Switch 2. And yeah, I mean, for me, it was pretty smooth as well.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what the hell that was, because, I mean, you saw it, you were there. It was really chugging.
Well, so I mean, did you play it on your TV?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But I played it on my TV, just the one in my bedroom. So
okay.
I hardly ever play in handheld mode, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, right on. No, I think that's great. I mean, this is the weird thing, and this is an important thing actually that I wanted to bring up about the Switch 2. And this is uniquely something that I would complain about, and it's not exactly a complaint. It's really a matter of perspective. I mean, the 4K that you get out of these games is upscaling. Like like Switch 2 games natively are 1080p. And
I mean yeah, it's a combination of upscaling and frame generation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, DLSS and whatever else, you know,
right,
that they're doing. Yeah. So that always kind of annoys me, just in the sense, like, it doesn't really annoy me because great, 1080p, everything I have is 1080p, perfect. You know, like I don't care. But like, you know, making such a big deal, oh yeah, 4K, but then it's just upscaling. Now, this isn't Nintendo's problem. This is a problem across the entire entertainment industry, is that like so much shit that gets sold to you as a premium, and they're telling you because of like fidelity and that it's in 4K or whatever, you know, unless there's some really fancy mastering process, which rarely gets done because it's incredibly time intensive and expensive. It's always upscaling. And it's like, you know, I always feel like I'm slightly being lied to, but that literally is just me. I'm the only person who gives a shit about that.
More than you know.
What do you got?
Just, I mean, games aside, like all these remasterings that they do of movies these days, it's not just upscaling. They're doing all this, you know, color correction shit.
Oh, yes.
And I fucking hate it.
Grading. Yep.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. I mean, like, do you know how many different color graded versions there are of The Matrix?
Oh, no.
There's like 4.
Yeah.
And you can't even get, like the Wachowskis have said, like, the version that we got, the original version that we got in theaters is not what they intended. But that's what I want.
Right.
And you can't get it other than on DVD now.
Yeah.
That's the only place it exists.
Yep. I mean, this is the Star Wars argument, you know.
I was just going to say it's the, you know, the original trilogy all over again.
Yeah, I mean, every single release of the original trilogy historically that has come out, you are literally always getting a different movie.
Yeah.
From format to format, even sometimes within the same format.
I found that even Harmy is doing it. And that
that's
just weird. Like incensed me.
He was done. Like, I thought he was finished.
Well, no, he is. But I mean, I found out after the fact that his 2.0 versions, he did color grading on some of that stuff.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, no, like.
Yeah. So this is the whole thing.
Yeah, it is. People are literally messing with your memories.
Yeah. I mean, there's still lines that from, like, say, a movie like Pulp Fiction that were only ever heard in theaters and have never been a part of any single home release ever. One in particular has to do with Elvis, but that's a whole other story. But this is people don't even know, you know. And it's interesting because I've had, you know, I love that you say this, because like I've had people, kind of older people, who have told me they would talk about this movie to me and they'd say, and like, you know, maybe as like a gift, I would buy them the movie. You know, they're like older people, you know, so you got to get it on DVD or whatever. And I'm one of those weirdos that happens to, you know, still know how to buy those. It's really kind of strange. No, I gotta admit, this is really strange. Like, I was in Walmart the other day, just looking at the $5 bin, and I felt like a fucking leper. I'm like people are like, they're like looking at me like who buys this shit? Who looks at that? You know,
it's like you're diving into the dumpster.
Yeah, right. It's like, what is this? Some diseased person who thinks DVDs are a thing? Like, I don't know. Maybe DVDs are just a figment of my imagination. But anyway, so this older person, like, she's telling me, yeah, Brian, you got me that movie. Thank you. But like, the best part of it isn't in there. And I'll even look online and I can't find what the fuck they're talking about. But you know what? There's a very good chance they could be right, that old person is actually remembering better than the internet does. And that movie was fucking changed, you know? And And that's a very weird world to live in, especially, boy, if you're an older person like she was, like if you're like in your 50s, 60s, whatever else, like what is real?
This has been going on for some time. Like, this like the Simpsons did this pre-purchased by Disney. Right. Like there was a scene with the remember the supervillain guy,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a scene in that first episode where he appears and he offers Homer a cup of coffee, and he asks him, "Do you want sugar?" And Homer says yes. And so he pulls handfuls of sugar out of his pockets and sprinkles it into his coffee. And then he says, "You want any cream?" And Homer goes, no. That scene doesn't exist anymore.
Crazy. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, and yes, like this was even being done obviously before movies. Like, if you get any recent version of Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, the book, there's always the coda at the end of it where he writes out this whole thing explaining how he found out that no, books weren't getting burned, but they might as well have been, because for book publishers to fit like complete works of Dostoevsky or whatever the fuck, they were like ripping out whole chapters to make like these omnibus versions of these books. And he said he found out it was happening to Fahrenheit 451 and he fucking flipped out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, they're even re-editing like classic books to make them more palatable to the current generation. Yeah. Get rid of some of the quote problematic elements.
Yeah.
No. You should be aware that kind of thing exists. I'm not trying to say like that needs to be praised or elevated or revered. Mm-hmm. I'm all for taking down Confederate statues because that's revisionist history too. but we shouldn't forget that they existed.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah, no, I totally hear you. It's not like an argument for any kind of like wokeness or against wokeness. It's just like, let's leave the piece of art alone. Let's let it stand. Yeah. And this is,
and it's so insidious with, these being quote digital products where like literally Amazon can go in there and revise the version of the book you have without you even knowing it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, totally. It's this is the very definition of slippery slope, because we're just talking about it like, what you're seeing on your 4K screen is actually 1080p just upscaled, but then like, but you don't understand how far this rabbit hole goes.
It does. We definitely went on a tangent there, but I mean,
it's a good one.
Like, this is an important issue. Like,
yes,
this shit, like honestly, this is one of the few things that like kind of like really kind of worries me about the future.
Yeah. No, totally. And I mean, it worries me too. In even just in like very senses of fandom, shall I say? I mean, in the way that, and I've talked about this so many times on my show, that like there's movies I still have on DVD and I don't buy the Blu-ray and I certainly don't buy the 4K because it's the only way, like you're saying about The Matrix, it's the only way you can actually get that version of the film. Like the director's cut of, I mean, we could talk about banal films like the director's cut of Gone in 60 Seconds, only ever available on DVD. Director's cut of XXX, and I mean the Vin Diesel film, only ever available on DVD. Like there's so many things that they get stuck back in time.
Even one of my favorite directors ever, Ridley Scott. I mean,
oh my,
Blade Runner, Kingdom of Heaven, who knows what else.
Yeah, I mean, thanks Satan for Kingdom of Heaven with that's ironic. With the director's cut, because you basically had the worst film of 2005 suddenly turn into the best film of 2005.
Yeah, like, no, I agree. It's an improvement, but at the same time, it's kind of like.
No, I hear you.
It's just weird.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, and I'll be clear again. Like, it's not like director's cuts are always better. That's not true. Like Daredevil, the original Daredevil movie, is my best example of that. The theatrical version is far superior to the director's cut. They got rid of all the good stuff in the director's cut. But anyway, that's that's all neither here nor there. Because in the games industry, they can do this anytime they want. It's just version 0.012 whatever, that they can just update this shit out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different with video games because that's an interactive medium. It's always dynamic. I mean, its purpose is to be dynamic.
Yep.
Whereas a movie is something that, like, you perceive as being very static. Like, you've seen it. It's the same thing every time you watch it. At least it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, and to bring it back to Nintendo, I mean, I think like Nintendo is in the position that it's in. And I mean, look, folks, the Switch 2, it's not hurting. It's already like the fastest selling system in most countries in history already. Like it's selling. Don't worry about that. Okay. Why does one generally buy a Nintendo system? It's usually not to play, say, Cyberpunk. Right? Like it's to play the Nintendo made games because that's the only place you can play them. And Nintendo has just built that high level of consumer trust that like what we want to do with the game, trust us, and you're going to get something that you like. And usually on launch day for that matter, like it's not like something that needs bug fixes for the next, 10 years. So bringing it all back, like I think that's the thing, or that's also where Nintendo is different in that most people, I think often enough, trust Nintendo to do right by the characters that they have. And it's not like we haven't had our weird moments over Nintendo's, well, actually they've been around for over a century, but the past few decades, I mean, Nintendo fans, I was one of them, flipping the fuck out about Wind Waker, back in whatever 03, 04, whatever that was, or 02. But then you finally play it and you go, oh, this is great. You know what I mean? And you totally get it. So yeah, I agree. The video games are different. And because what you were just saying makes a great argument for like, okay, no, this is why I should be a PC gamer, because then like I can really mod it and take control of the game the way that I want to, and or bring games back to their purer forms if necessary when companies fuck up. This has even happened recently with the Tomb Raider re-releases, where certain graphics and other things were added back into the games, not by Aspire, but by, fans of the game who could mod it on PC. But in general, you still buy Nintendo. Why? Because you just trust them to deliver those Nintendo only experiences that they can do. And the Switch 2, like we said, it seems very primed to be that, like it's going to deliver those experiences. Again, last comment is just that they've really got to do that though. Like I really think they need to, because we're in the game industry is already in shambles, and they can't really make mistakes, or someone really could take over, and that someone probably would be PC gaming. What do you got, Rob?
Like I said, the ball's in their court.
Yep, exactly.
It's their game to lose.
Yep. Great pun. Yeah. Yeah, would you say Metroid Prime 4 is that? I mean, or Donkey Kong? Like, which one do you think you're more jazzed for? They're both 2025
for sure. I was just taken aback by how much that I could get excited about a Donkey Kong game.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that was possible.
Yep. No, I'm with you. Without it saying like Donkey Kong Country 4 on it, like I didn't think I would, that it was something I could get that jazzed about. But that just looked absolutely incredible.
Yeah, even that wouldn't excite me, to be honest with you, because like I said,
sure.
like the Donkey Kong formula has been kind of static for quite a while.
Yeah, no, you're right. Even like Donkey Kong Country Returns and that Freeze game. Like, yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. I still think it's weird that we don't have a Mario real 3D platformer like an Odyssey 2 or something. I'm very surprised by that, but the GameCube launched without.
Here again.
Go ahead.
Here again, this is Nintendo's game to lose. I have a feeling Nintendo is going to do something really weird with the next Mario game, like Sunshine level weird.
Whoa. Okay.
That's my guess.
There's Rob's prediction, and this is one we're going to write down, and we're going to look for. I think you could be right. Yeah. I'm pretty excited to see where, really. Well, yeah, again, there's so much potential here. Like you can tell, as like I said, I know earlier I said it's kind of like boring. At the same time, like, really great shit could get done with this. And I mean, honestly, if they did just keep making Switch games like for the next 10 years, I would have been more than happy with that, because those games are insane, but now to just have them at a higher fidelity, higher, performance, all of that, that does open up a lot for sure. But we're probably not going to see a return of Nintendo Labo. So anyway, yeah, I mean, anything else you want to get out about the Switch 2, Rob? Anything else that really struck you with it?
No, I mean, we covered all the major points. Like I said, it's got a lot of potential. I'd say if you haven't gotten one yet, it's really not that big of a deal right now.
Yes.
I have a feeling there's going to be plenty of inventory heading into the holiday season, even if it's not there right now. I think, by November, if you want to Switch 2, you'll probably be able to get one.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's a great note, like kind of to end on, is there is no rush to get this thing. Like really, I mean, Mario Kart World is great, but it can be greater. It probably will be greater, and you can wait for that.
I'd say that's the only benefit to being an early adopter, is getting Mario Kart World at that $50 price point with the bundle.
Oh, right. Yeah,
that's
cash.
That's the benefit. But if you don't care about Mario Kart, then wait.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I wrestled with this too. I was like, I had to go through the process of, like, Nintendo had a very convoluted process to be able to even get in line for a pre-order. And that's how I ended up with one, because nobody really has them in stock right now. So, and I was debating at the time, I was like, yeah, should I just wait for like some special edition one, cause like I remember the Diablo 3 Switch 1 was so hot. Like that thing was gorgeous.
I think that kind of thing is inevitable. Yeah. But I think they're going to hold off a good long while before they come out with, a special edition or an OLED. I think it's going to be like at least a year or two before we see anything like that. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. So I was tempted to wait for that. Honestly, I think someone, especially if you already have a game library, anything remotely close to Rob or I's, and boy, you got a lot to do if you happen to have game libraries like we do. I agree. Just, you don't have to be in a hurry to get this thing, but I also don't think you'll be disappointed when you do. Honestly, like that to me would be like the biggest selling point, is if you're not happy with the performance of your games on the Switch 1, that's probably the biggest reason to get one Switch 2 right now. Otherwise, if you're happy with what you got, wait. Yeah, because the games that are already there are just going to get better. I agree. So that is the Switch 2, folks. Again, it's not something you need to run out for. Clearly, again, though, by sales numbers, a lot of people already did. So, there's going to be a lot of people to play with, I guess, if you do get your hands on one. But yeah, when you do get it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. But again, no need to run out there. So, all right, Rob, man, so many other things we could talk about. I know there's a new Predator film that I know we want to get to talk about or animated, I guess I should say, right? Yep.
That would be good to get into here in the near future. And lots of other things. Boy, we got a hell of a movie season coming up. New Jurassic World movie, new Tron, new Mortal Kombat, right? I mean, holy shit. Like it's all sequels, sadly, but like there's stuff coming.
I was gonna say, like I'm kind of suffering from a bit of sequel fatigue.
Sure. Yep. I'm with you on that. Yeah, and I basically, as far as like, why do we have sequel fatigue? I blame anyone who didn't go to see Jupiter's Legacy in theaters. So if you, speaking of the Wachowskis, that was like the last original property, like completely original property, and it tanked, maybe for good reason. But anyway.
Well, at least until Luc Besson does the in-call.
Oh yeah, right. Ooh. Though, could I get a Valerian 2 while we're at it?
Yeah, right. Anyway,
yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie. And who knows what we'll get as far as Star Wars. I don't know. All right, we do need to wrap up, but just real quick, like I've even heard rumors that, like, boy, if Mandalorian and Grogu doesn't do good money, like Disney's really considering leaving Star Wars behind. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Rob? Really quick.
I think Andor has breathed a lot of fresh life into the franchise recently. I mean, like, it's not my cup of tea, but apparently, like, even Battlefront 2 is blowing up online in terms of player count.
That's
like,
weird.
They're doing numbers that are even bigger than new multiplayer games that are coming out right now.
That is 35,000
concurrent players last weekend.
That game's like 8 or 9 years old. Like, isn't it?
No, it's not that old, is it?
I thought that game was all right. Hold on. Wait. I thought this game was pretty ancient. Maybe I'm thinking of the first one.
Well, I guess 2017.
2017. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought it on launch day. It's not like I became against the game after we all got the old switcheroo pulled on us, but
right, yeah, hoodwinked.
Yeah, but what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's weird. I need
Star
to
Wars
study
is in a
this.
weird place right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
The whole everything, the gaming industry, the entertainment industry, it's all in a weird fucking place.
Yeah,
bat in the hatches, folks. Jesus, that is so strange. Okay, well, there we are. Maybe oh crap, Janine Gavankar, what the hell is her name? I feel terrible now that I can't think of it. Anyway, maybe she can get some work again with Star Wars. That'd be nice. So, okay.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. I feel like there was more than just business involved with what went down there. Like, I think as long as Kathleen Kennedy is still involved with Star Wars, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
And even though we've confirmed she's stepping down, she's not leaving the company.
Right. Everything's in a weird place, folks. That's the message of the show. We live in the most interesting of times. And of course,
entropy is increasing.
Yes. Yeah. And it's funny how that happens when there's a lack of like originality. So I've always said that creativity is that which staves off entropy. So I guess we can scientifically prove that there's not a lot of creativity right now. So on that depressing note, we will wrap up this episode. But go get your Switch 2, folks. I don't know, maybe that'll help. Some kind of Band-Aid for the arm that's falling off. Okay. So Rob, anyway, always great to shoot the shit and talk up some of the latest of something that might remotely matter in this swamp of unoriginality and entropy. So with that, well, hopefully we will see all of you on the other side. Woo.